Before we jump into the video, let's look how effective these settings when you're playing the game.
Killing spree for the blue team! Clear! Enemy down! Expired! Dead! No mercy! Reloading! Clear!
To start, open Gameloop emulator. Then click Hamburger menu. Then click Settings. For the basic, you can use default settings. Don't need to change for engine, for rendering. Use the smart mode. Let's tick these 4 items. Then anti-aliasing just close, and memory and processor just use auto. For the resolution, use 1080p. For the DPI, you have to use 480 because Tencent recommends that settings. Game resolution, I use 2K because I have a little bit high graphic card. Then display quality, I use HD. You have to select for FPS 90 FPS because if you want to play much smoother, you have to use 90 FPS. If you don't have 90 FPS, just use a third party app. You can set it as a 90 FPS. Then I will log into my PUBG account using my Twitter account. Let's go to the settings. For the basic, you can turn off aim assist. It sucks when you are playing the game. Then close it. For the other thing, peek and open scope, just turn it on, and peek and fire, just turn it on. I use lean mode, I use hold, scope mode hold. So just turn it on. Death replay, if you want to turn it on, just turn it on. Don't worry about that thing. So other things you can keep it as default. Let's move to the graphics settings. Graphic, I use HDR. If you can't use FDR, just use HD or balance. Don't worry about that thing. But the frame rate, you have to use extreme for the both combat and lobby settings. Frame rate is much important. Then I use colorful style. Then other thing, you can just use the default settings. Control, I use first one. For the vehicle, I use the first one. Sensitivity, this is the most important thing. Camera sensitivity, that I use third person and camera 130. First person camera, I use 95. Then in the camera section, third person noise scope and first person noise scope, I use 100. Then red dot 15, 2x13, 3x9, 4x5, 6x and 8x, use 4. Then ADS sensitivity, I use third person and first person 103, red dot 18, 2x16, 3x12, 4x8, and 6x and 8x, I use 7. You don't need to worry about gyroscope settings, so these are for mobile players. Then, so if you can upload it to the cloud, it is much better when you come into the game again. If you change the code, if you mess with the settings, you can just load it out. Auto pickup, I just turn it off because when you are in the combat, game try to pick up and you try to shoot, it sucks. Other thing is scope and audio, just use the default settings. I use Ultra HD this time. For the audio effect settings, just use default settings. You can use whatever the color you like. For the language, I use English. Then download. You have to download resource and separate resource. Because when you play in the game, if you try to pick up some guns, you can't pick up. Because if you don't download these settings, you can't pick up and you can't play your game properly. If I move to key mapping, I use some default settings. You can use either my settings or you can customize these settings according to your preference. These are the basic settings you can use if you are using a gaming mouse, gaming PC or normal mouse, whatever. If you are using laptop, notebook, whatever. these settings perfectly work for me. So I suggest to try these settings. I think these settings perfectly work for you. So just try it out. That's it. See you soon.
No mercy! Reloading! Clear! The blue team is in the lead. Killing spree for the blue team!